we're ready to start the operation. Before we do get into the operation, it's probably important to go through the maintenance of the sterilizer while we do have the internal components out of the chamber. The units require minimal maintenance. The manufacturer recommends a routine procedure, maybe once a week to twice a week, to once a fortnight, depending on how frequently you are operating the sterilizer for your practice. But the procedure itself is a lint-free cloth, your distilled water, simply wet your lint-free cloth and wipe down the inside of the chamber while the components have been removed. It is important to only use distilled water for the maintenance part of the sterilizer. Please do not use tap water to clean the sterilizer with. The minerals in your tap water will eat away at the chamber. Okay? Obviously the minerals eat away at the stainless steel, your chamber being solid stainless steel. So once a week or once a fortnight, depending on operation, we clean down the inside of the chamber, the inside of the actual door itself, and the door seal. Okay? You should never require chemicals or alcohols or so forth on your chamber. Anything that does come in contact with the chamber should clean off with a little bit of elbow grease. If you do ever have something inside the chamber that won't remove with a little bit of elbow grease, before you do try anything else, please contact Zone Medical. We will make a recommendation depending on what it is that has built up on the inside of your chamber. Okay? So again, with the lint-free cloth and distilled water, wipe down your chamber door, and your door seal. Once a month, we recommend removing the drain filter out the back of the sterilizer. Okay? So, as I said before previously, the drain filter just simply pulls out of the back of the sterilizer. Now this will catch any little bit of lint or so forth off your bags and prevent it from getting down through the drain hole and into the internal mechanisms of your sterilizer. It is important just to note every now and then that the drain filter is situated correctly in the back of the chamber, because if it's not pushed down correctly, it does have there is the possibility that it may pop up. For cleaning this, it is an aluminium, and washing this under the tap will be fine. If you do have any little bits of built up lint within the mesh that you do need to remove, a wire brush will be sufficient. You're not going to damage the surface of the aluminium. Okay? When your filter is nice and pretty, again like it is now, we simply just push the drain filter back into place. Okay. To reinsert the rack support, obviously the bar at the back is the rear of the rack support, so it goes in first. The Cominox rack support have the flexibility of having either a 2-bar or a 4-bar, so depending on which way you do prefer is the way you slide it in. Simply push it back into the chamber like so. The coil covering grid slides in underneath it. And then that silicon dam we were talking about earlier goes onto the bottom of the coil covering grid, and then the coil covering grid gets pushed into position. Now the silicon dam is an important piece of the sterilizer. It does stop the stainless steel of the coil covering grid touching the stainless steel of your chamber, scratching the surface of your chamber and creating rust. So please ensure you do fit that back onto the coil covering grid when you do reinsert it into your unit. Also, if the door was to ever not shut correctly for any particular reason and lock into place, this also prevents water from coming out through the bottom of your door and wetting your practice. Okay. Once you're satisfied that little silicone dam and the coil covering grid are sitting correctly into position, so they're sitting inside the groove of the chamber. Again, with your Allen key provided and the nut, you screw the coil covering grid back into place, which will hold your rack support in position. Please do not over tighten the nut. It doesn't need to be super tight, it just needs to be firm. Insert our trays. And that's your maintenance and your levelling.